and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better. And how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Predicted an end to high inflation, but nothing has changed. In fact, food and housing prices are still going higher. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings from inflation by diversifying into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, simply text the word safeguard to 989898, and you'll get a free info kit on gold IRAs that will explain everything. Again, that's safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down. EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
For official rules and more information about contests on this station, go to patriot.la/rules.
Credit cards are a really dumb idea for really broke people.
Well, when you're working and sometimes now been in that.
Wait a minute, Chris, let's stop a second, okay? I've been doing this 30 years. You're not going to talk me into using a credit card. I'm the guy that's cut up more credit cards and calls for people to stop using credit cards than anyone in the history of the United States. So you're really not going to talk me out of this.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays at 3 on the AM 1150.
Sitting on hundreds and hundreds of years worth of supplies of natural gas, oil, and coal. They must think we are the dumbest country on earth. They know we have more reserves than they do, and we're begging them. This is how pathetic this party is. You're better off than you were 2 years ago. You know, White House, they're blaming Putin, they're blaming oil companies, they're blaming Fox News, they're blaming everybody but themselves.
Sean Hannity, weekdays at noon on the Patriot, AM 1150.
Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show on the track here on the Tuesday edition of the program. Appreciate all of you joining us. Yesterday, our friend Alex Berenson joined the Twitter Files crew and had a really fascinating, eye-opening thread of information surrounding Scott Gottlieb, who sits, I believe, on the Pfizer board and has been zealously attempting to silence critics of the Pfizer COVID shot. I think I'm summarizing that fairly well. Alex, a couple of questions here off the top. How did you come to join the Twitter Files team? That is Elon Musk opening up these revelations to you. And the second part of that, were you surprised by what you found as it relates to Scott Gottlieb?
So yeah, the first question, Elon actually texted me kind of out of the blue in late December and asked me if I would be part of this. And frankly, I was surprised because I've been critical about certain things he's done since he took over Twitter. And, you know, and at one point he actually blocked me from following him. And so I thought, well, I guess I'm not going to be part of this group that gets to investigate this. But, you know, he, I guess, felt that it was important to have somebody who really knew COVID and the censorship sort of decisions that he made. But this, allowing people inside the records of the company that he bought, is legally risky for him, and it's an extraordinary decision on his part. And it's giving us an unprecedented look into the way the government and social media companies work together, and the pressure on Twitter, which to me, even though it's not the largest, in some ways is the most important of all these companies, because it is so used by journalists. So I think Elon deserves credit for that. And frankly, if he kicks me off again because he's annoyed with me or whatever, I'll still say he deserves credit for that. So that's how I got involved. Now, in terms of what the files show, yes, they show that Scott Gottlieb, who it's very important to understand who this guy is. Although he didn't have a position in government the last couple of years, he's arguably the most important voice out there in terms of setting COVID policy, because he was the former chairman of our former commissioner of the FDA. He then left the FDA very rapidly to Pfizer, and in 2020, when COVID hit, he took a place for himself as the central, as the guy who was going to tell Trump and Jared Kushner what to do and say it publicly, and hopefully they'd listen to him. And that's who Scott Gottlieb is. And so he had a loud voice, and he also vaccines, because he was on the board of Pfizer, made more money from the vaccines than anybody else. Pfizer and BioNTech, they've sold these mRNA vaccines than anybody else. And he said publicly, you know what, I'm not against debate on vaccines. I want all voices to be heard. And it turns out, we now know, having looked at these, that's not really true. It's not true at all.
Speaking of Alex Berenson, check out his Substack. And Alex, I wanted to, since we're talking about vaccines too, along with the Twitter censorship issue, what is the truth, as we can say right now, or as you can tell us right now, of myocarditis from the shots, based on the numbers, the data? What do we know, and what do we still need to find out about what these shots have done?
Oh, myocarditis is a very 40 following shots. And you can argue if myocarditis alone is a bigger risk than COVID for in that age group. We know that COVID is a very low risk to anybody who's under 40 who's not, sort of morbidly obese or otherwise at death's door. But heart inflammation, it seems we don't know sort of how long the damage to the heart lasts, and maybe different in different cases. Who are injected are not going to suffer myocarditis, and they're not going to suffer a severe case, certainly. But it is a real risk, and given how not risky COVID is in that population, all by itself, that probably means that shots would be a bad idea for that age group. So myocarditis. But what I would say is, there's this issue, and we've talked about this, you and I and Bobby, in the past, about all-cause deaths. That all-cause deaths are up all over the world in the countries that used these vaccines in the last year. And when I talked to you about a month and a half ago, I was sort of optimistic that we were going back down to baseline. But unfortunately, some new data that's come out since then suggests that I was wrong, that we're not going back down to baseline, that in Europe, mortality remains really high.
So Alex, can I ask, what is your working theory for that? I mean, just tell us, what do you think is going on?
I think that there's a long-term problem with the shots, and there's several different explanations for that. And to be clear, we're not talking about a doubling or a tripling in mortality. We're not even talking about, some people, working age people. That's not what it looks like. It looks like right now it's 10 or 15%. And some of that is due to the fact that COVID actually still continues at a low level. But nonetheless, that's a big number, okay? 10 or 15% mortality above the historical norm of, the pre-COVID, pre-vaccine era was enough to shut the world down when we thought it was COVID. Okay, so it's a big number. It's hundreds of thousands of deaths in Europe, millions of deaths worldwide a year, or certainly over 1 million. That's a big number. And there's lots of ways in which the vaccine could be contributing to this. They could be contributing to it by now there's evidence that they change our response to COVID itself in a way that may lead people to have a harder time clearing the infection. And for really old, sick people, that might be enough to push them over the edge. We don't know. It could be that there's spike protein still floating around in people's bloodstreams, in some people's bloodstreams, at a very, for example, myocarditis. There's a paper that came out a few days ago suggesting that. We don't know. It could be that in some people, the vaccine itself isn't cleared quickly, although the companies and the regulators said it would be, and for some reason it looks around. What I'm really saying to you is we need to investigate this. This needs to be a priority at the highest level of government. These companies have to be forced to disclose what they know, if they know anything. There needs to be serious epidemiology. There needs to be serious work at the cellular level done, and it needs to be done without anyone being what the findings might be. So if the findings are that the vaccines actually don't cause any of this, and we're all, people like me are completely wrong, and the extra deaths are just the result of, so be it. But if the findings are that vaccines have caused this in some way and that multiple boosters have made it worse, we need to know that, both from a public health, if there's anything we can do about it. And it is approaching criminal right now that people won't discuss this at the levels of government and academia and science and at the corporate levels where it needs to be discussed.
Well, this ties in, Alex, because I texted you some over the weekend because Dr. Fauci came out and said you cannot even mention the possibility that the COVID shot could be involved in Damar Hamlin's collapse on the football field. And my antenna, especially with Dr. Fauci, and I'm sure with yours, and I know for Buck as well, goes up in a big way when Dr. Fauci especially, but many of these public health experts say you can't even mention this